Rafiq had stopped expecting life to surprise him. After his wife passed, the world had shrunk into routines. Wake before sunrise, prepare breakfast, wake his 6-year-old daughter Aisha, walk her to school, then spend the day chasing odd jobs that barely paid enough to keep the lights on. By night, exhaustion replaced grief, which was its own kind of mercy. So when he saw the job listing, driver needed. Long hours. Discretion required. High paid, he almost didn't bother. Jobs like that didn't go to men like him. But something about the phrasing, blunt and almost desperate, made him dial the number anyway. The interview took place at the edge of the city, behind tall iron gates that whispered wealth. He expected questions about experience, references, licenses. Instead, the man who greeted him, a quiet assistant in a crisp suit, only asked one thing. Can you be trusted to keep what you see to yourself? Rafiq thought of Aisha's worn shoes, her quiet way of never asking for more. Yes, he said simply. He was hired on the spot. The first time he saw the billionaire, Rafiq was surprised. He had imagined someone loud, commanding, surrounded by people. But the man who stepped into the back seat was still. His hair was streaked with gray, his expression distant, like someone who had everything yet found nothing worth holding onto. Drive, the man said, not even giving a destination. Rafiq waited a moment. Where to, sir? A pause. Anywhere quiet. That became the pattern. Every morning, Rafiq would pick him up, and they would drive for hours, through empty roads, quiet parks, the edges of the sea. Sometimes the billionaire spoke, but mostly he just stared out the window. At first, it felt strange. Then it felt peaceful. For the first time in years, Rafiq wasn't rushing. He wasn't bargaining, worrying, or calculating how to stretch money another week. He was simply driving, and being paid more than he had ever imagined. And slowly, something inside him softened. It was on the 10th day that things changed. As they drove along a quiet road lined with old trees, the billionaire suddenly said, "Stop here." Rafiq pulled over. Ahead stood a small roadside tea stall. Plastic chairs. A rusted kettle. The kind of place people passed without noticing. "I used to come here," the billionaire murmured, almost to himself. Rafiq said nothing. They sat there for a while before the man stepped out. After a moment's hesitation, Rafiq followed. The tea seller, an elderly man with trembling hands, looked up and froze. "Sir," he whispered. The billionaire smiled faintly. It was the first time Rafiq had seen any warmth on his face. "You're still here." The old man nodded, eyes shining. They drank tea together, standing in silence that somehow felt full. On the drive back, the billionaire spoke again. "What's your daughter's name?" Rafiq blinked, surprised. "Aisha." 6. Another pause. "Bring her tomorrow." Rafiq didn't sleep that night. He didn't know why he felt nervous. The man had said nothing threatening, nothing strange. But something about the invitation felt important. The next morning, Aisha wore her cleanest dress. She held his hand tightly as they approached the grand gates. Inside, her eyes widened at everything, the gardens, the fountains, the vastness of it all. But it wasn't the mansion that changed everything. It was her. She appeared in the courtyard, as if she had been waiting. A woman in a simple white outfit, her hair tied loosely, her presence calm but unusual. Not because of beauty, though she had that, but because of the way she looked at people, like she saw something deeper than what was visible. Aisha let go of Rafiq's hand and walked straight toward her. Children didn't hesitate around kindness. "Hello," the woman said softly, kneeling down. "Hello," Aisha replied. Rafiq watched, confused. "Who?" he began. "The only person in this house who still believes in people," the billionaire said quietly from behind him. Rafiq turned. The man looked different today. Lighter. "That's my sister," he added. "Everyone thinks she's strange." Her name was Meher. And strange, Rafik soon realized, was only the word people used when they didn't understand someone. Meher didn't speak much, but when she did, it felt intentional. She spent most of her time in the garden, tending to plants or simply sitting under the shade, watching the world as if it were telling her secrets. Aisha adored her instantly. While Rafik worked, Aisha stayed with Meher. They painted, laughed, and sometimes just sat quietly, which was something Aisha had rarely done since her mother passed. Days turned into weeks. And those weeks became the best days of Rafik's life. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Meher spoke to him for the first time directly. "You carry sadness like it's something you owe the world," she said. Rafik stiffened. "I don't understand." "You do," she replied gently. "You think if you let go, it means you've forgotten her." His throat tightened. No one had said it out loud before. "I don't know how to let go," he admitted. Meher smiled, not with pity, but with understanding. "You don't let go," she said. "You make space for something else beside it." That night, Rafik watched Aisha sleeping. For the first time, he didn't feel like he was just surviving. He felt like he was living. Months later, everything shifted again. The billionaire fell ill. It happened quietly, like everything else in that house. Doctors came and went. Conversations grew hushed. One afternoon, the man called Rafik into his room. "I didn't hire you because you were the best driver," he said, voice weak but steady. Rafik stayed silent. "I hired you because you answered honestly." A faint smile. "And because I needed someone who hadn't forgotten how to feel." Rafik didn't know what to say. "Take care of her," the man added, glancing toward the garden where Meher and Aisha sat together. Rafik nodded. "I will." After the billionaire passed, the house felt emptier. But not broken. Meher remained. So did Aisha's laughter. And Rafik, he stayed too. Not as a driver, but as something more difficult to define. Family, perhaps. Years later, Rafik would often think back to that job listing. A job nobody wanted. A risk he almost didn't take. And how, in choosing it, he hadn't just found stability. He had found healing. Not in wealth. Not in comfort. But in quiet drives, shared tea, a strange woman who understood pain without asking questions. And a reminder that sometimes, the life you need doesn't come from chasing something better. It comes from saying yes to something unexpected.